All right. Hey, everybody. It's good to be back from the Thanksgiving break. Many things to talk about, including, yes, Donald Trump faking an orgasm in public at a rally. It is a very weird video. I recommend getting the kids out of the room. I have totally new graphics, and this will be cool. These are actually, I can edit these. Let's see. They exist in a couple different formats. Here is one of them. And I can actually edit these so as people sign up, I can go in. Oh, that's for later. Actually, we don't want that yet. As people sign up, I can go in and, for example, change the number of new members to 2. And then when I do that, I think the progress bar goes up. But I will keep it at 0 for now because that's where we are. But this is cool. And then I think that the sign up images, graphics, the alert box, so to speak, is up at the top there. Let's see if I test it. Oh, there it is. It does work. Carbon Forms has just subscribed. I think we could actually make that even a little bit bigger. That'll work for us very well. So very exciting things live on Twitch and live on YouTube. It's great to see everybody, and we have so much to talk about. I will show you the video. Wait, things are happening here. I will show you the video of Donald Trump faking the orgasm. It's really weird. We're going to talk about that. I will be talking about George Conway for the first time appearing to publicly go against his wife, Kellyanne Conway. That's going to be interesting. I also, Donald Trump tweeted that this guy, Congressman Doug Collins, did a great job over the weekend defending Trump. And so I assumed it had to be crazy, and it is. I found the video, and it is absolutely, it's total gibberish. And it's such gibberish that I actually transcribed what he says for us, and we're going to look at that a little bit later. And then also very disturbing video of Mark Zuckerberg just not willing to tell us what it is that he discussed with Donald Trump in a meeting he didn't even want. He didn't even want the meeting to be public. And now we know that the meeting happened, and he doesn't answer what went on. I also might look at polling. Pete Buttigieg has been surging. Let's see if we can actually zoom out so you can see this. There it is. Pete Buttigieg with a pop right there. We will talk about what might be behind that. I also want to talk about, I think that my audience is not paying attention to me and just upvoting or downvoting based on titles. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. This video, oops, I accidentally disliked my own video. I didn't mean to do that. So we're going to talk about that as well, but we will start with the Trump thing momentarily. I will answer questions via Super Chat over on YouTube and via highlighted messages over on Twitch and also via Twitch Prime subscriptions. People asking why our episodes don't premiere on Twitch anymore. Twitch is removing premieres, I believe, as of December 12. And we figured since they're getting rid of it, we're just not going to keep using that functionality since it's going away anyway. Thanks to Metaf Sihos for signing up for Twitch Prime. Carbon Forms for signing up for Twitch Prime, and Gramstrong for signing up with Twitch Prime. I very much appreciate it. And Super Chat is enabled. Use the $ over on YouTube at the bottom of the chat window in order to send a Super Chat, and we will. I will answer those questions. Here's the deal. Here's Donald Trump faking an orgasm on live TV. This is actually from a few weeks ago. You might remember the names Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. These were 2 FBI workers, FBI employees, who had an affair. And ultimately, Lisa Page left the FBI, and Donald Trump, and Peter Strzok, rather, was let go. And Donald Trump often likes to cite them as evidence of wrongdoing, as evidence of the Russia probe being a witch hunt, or, whatever. And this time, Donald Trump chose to reenact, I guess, a fake conversation or some text messages between Lisa Page and Peter Strzok. And in doing it around the 45-second mark, Donald Trump appears to be impersonating Lisa Page having an orgasm. Now, I will warn you, this is ugly. This is very, very ugly. And I don't think children should see this. This is really not good. But let's take a listen to it together. And it's pretty grim. Take a look. Whoa, hold on a second.
It was 19 minutes after the oath of office. Months earlier, Peter Strzok. Remember, he and his lover Lisa Page. What a group. She's going to win. 10 million to 1. She's going to win. I'm telling you, Peter. I'm telling you, Peter, she's going to win, Peter. Oh,
here he goes. He's starting to work up.
I love you, Peter. I love you too, Lisa. Lisa, I love you. Lisa. Lisa. Oh, God, I love you, Lisa.
Yeah. Quite an actor, right? I mean, this is a guy who really should be, he I don't even know that the presidency is his calling. I think that actually he should be acting. And then, of course, the crowd going completely crazy.
And if she doesn't win, Lisa, we've got an insurance policy, Lisa. We'll get that son of a bitch out.
So obviously, you know, the idea of having a president that behaves this way is, you know, it's just a complete and total joke. But what's more concerning to me actually is the crowd's reaction, you know, the idea that there are thousands of people there, but presumably many more people, millions of people around the country who are okay having a president like this, who behaves in this way, who comports themselves in this way. And yeah, the crowd going wild here.
Win, I'm telling you, Peter. I'm telling you, Peter, she's going to win, Peter. Oh, I love you so much.
Yeah. I mean, you know, the cheering is strange. And of course, you know, all the normal jokes apply. Donald Trump certainly would know what it's like to be in a room when there are fake orgasms. That's no surprise whatsoever. All of that normal stuff. But this, you know, the idea that a president, Lisa Page in the end is a public servant, was a federal employee, was doing her job. And a president not only faking an orgasm during an event, right, but doing it all in service to attacking a public servant is disturbing. And yeah, as people are pointing out, it doesn't seem difficult to entertain the sorts of people that go to these Trump rallies, that's for sure. And a very, very diverse crowd. So typically that's actually funny that people are pointing that out. Last live stream we did, we happened to overlap with a little bit of Trump's MAGA rally, or CAGA rally, as they are now calling them, in Florida. And this position right here over Trump's left shoulder, it's typically reserved for a black man at Trump rallies and even at Republican events in general. And here, apparently, they didn't have somebody here, so they weren't able to get that set up. Very, very diverse people, a group of people on stage, as you can see. It is Minnesota, after all. So anyway, that's what went on, and we'll talk about it a little bit more tomorrow. And really, the Lisa Page thing is actually the big part of it that deserves the most discussion and analysis, because it's horrible what's going on with her. Let me address a super chat from Red the Night One, who sends us a $10 super chat on YouTube saying, "I was watching Ring of Fire, saying that the judge warns Trump to turn in the tax returns, but Trump keeps evading tax returns until the end of Tuesday. Does this mean Trump will be arrested by force?" I don't know exactly what you're saying, but I know. Donald Trump is not going to be arrested by force. That's not going to happen. I would not hold my breath for that whatsoever. Okay, over on Twitch, let me say thank you to Debut T Shark for subscribing with Twitch Prime, and also thanks to Shisel for subscribing for 3 months with Prime with the message, "I'm from Europe. I enjoy following U.S. politics through your channel." Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right, so there's Trump faking the orgasm. Let's go to some other stuff. Mark Zuckerberg is the founder of Facebook, and he is increasingly someone that I don't see as a particularly good faith actor in the battle against actual fake news. By that, I don't mean news that Trump doesn't like. I mean actual fake news, disinformation, propaganda campaigns. He increasingly seems pretty much unconcerned. We saw how he imploded in the testimony before the House of Representatives, before a committee there where Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez made him look not only bad, but just clueless about what Facebook policy even is. is. Okay, so in any case, it turns out that Mark Zuckerberg had a meeting with Donald Trump. It was kept off of Trump's public schedule. Facebook did not announce that the meeting took place. Eventually, NBC reported, hey, Zuckerberg and Trump met. So Gayle King on CBS this morning asked Mark Zuckerberg what was discussed during that meeting. And the non-answers make me sort of physically uncomfortable, actually. It's uncomfortable to watch. Take a look.
It was reported later that you had dinner with the president of the White House. What was the nature of the meeting? Can you say?
Sure. I mean, we talked about a number of things that were on his mind and some of the topics that you'd read about in the news around.
We talked about things on Trump's mind and things that were in the news. Okay, very clear, Mark. Thank you.
Around our work.
The dinner was not disclosed by the White House and only became public after the fact through news reports. It came as President Trump was openly discouraging Facebook from banning political ads. Listen, people would say the optics weren't good. Did he try to lobby you in any way?
No, I mean, I don't think that's that. I think some of the stuff that people talk about or think gets discussed in these discussions are not really how that works. I also
Mark Zuckerberg should stop doing interviews, I think, is the conclusion.
want to respect that it was a private dinner, right, and it's a private discussion.
Yeah. So listen, the private dinner thing, I understand that, but of course, it's not just that it was private. You tried to keep it a secret altogether. Thanks to Gendrick89 for giving out 5 community subs over on Twitch. I appreciate that very, very much. And yes, for people asking, we are taking questions via Super Chat. Over on YouTube. So there's the Mark Zuckerberg thing. Listen, I think at this point it's very clear. I mean, Zuckerberg knows where his bread is buttered. Zuckerberg does not have an interest, as Facebook does not have an interest, in keeping political ads off if they don't stick to the facts. It's just not his concern. And by that, I don't mean it shouldn't be. I mean, it's not. He's not concerned about it. And whatever was discussed with Donald Trump, I don't know. We don't know. We may never know. But what's abundantly clear is that this is a platform that I understand why many in my audience are increasingly leaving. Increasingly abandoning, and we're going to have more coverage of that tomorrow as well. And yeah, I mean the mealy-mouthed uncertainty is very transparent. Like this is just not looking good.
With the president of the White House, what was the nature of the meeting? Can you say?
Sure. I mean, we talked about a number of things that were on his mind and some of the topics that you'd read about in the news around our work.
Yeah. Anyway, so it is it is pretty cringeworthy. I don't really know what else to make of it other than whatever you imagine is going on behind the scenes probably is going on, and more than likely there is going to be whatever was discussed during that meeting between Mark Zuckerberg and Donald Trump is likely to play a role in the 2020 presidential election. We'll know more as time goes on, but that is seems abundantly clear to me at this point in time. Okay, next. I saw Donald Trump tweet earlier today, "Great job by Congressman Doug Collins of Georgia over the weekend in representing the Republican Party and myself against the impeachment hoax." So I saw this and I thought, if Trump liked the performance, it must be terrible. But that did not properly prepare me for the absurdity of this appearance that Congressman Doug Collins did on Fox News Sunday. Now, try to follow along, but I've already transcribed this very bizarre word salad, and we're actually going to put the text up on the screen. But first, just listen to it and see if you can make any sense out of what he's saying.
So I do not spend dollars that I don't need to spend in the Ukraine because of corruption that was still there. Okay, this is an issue.
Let me just ask you a thought experiment. Just bear with me for a minute. Okay. If you believed that the president had used the power of his office to try to get Ukraine to interfere with our elections, if you believe that, would that be an impeachable offense?
I do not believe it, so that I'm not going to answer a hypothetical in which is designed to simply say that the president did something improper. Chris, he did nothing improper. There was nothing about a problematic giving aid to another country in which you're talking about corruption, which he's required to do by law. And it just so happened that a presidential candidate's son, who was getting a massive amount of money from a company that had been under investigation, in which even other witnesses that have been favorable, quote, to the Democrats in the investigation, have said needed to be looked at. This is a problem of overall proportion, but there's nothing here that the president did wrong. And this is the thing that we're going to move forward on.
Okay.
The fact of, is there corruption?
All right. So I actually transcribed that, and we'll put it up on the screen. I mean, it is a word salad like no word salad I recall ever seeing. So let me make sure we can all see this. I do not believe it, so that I'm not going to answer a hypothetical in which is designed to simply say that the president did something improper. Chris, he did nothing improper. There's nothing about a problematic giving aid to another country in which you're talking about corruption, which he's required to do by law. And he just so happened that a presidential candidate's son, who is getting in a massive amount of money from a company that had been under investigation, in which even other witnesses that have been favorable, quote, to the Democrats in the investigation have said needed to be looked at. That's one sentence. This is a problem of overall proportion, but there's nothing here that the president did wrong, and this is the thing that we're going to move forward on. If that is not a word salad, a meaningless word salad, then I don't know. I have never seen one, and I don't even know what. I mean, listen, I can tell that he's saying Trump did nothing wrong. That part is clear to me. But then I went back and said, what did Trump say again? Great job by Doug Collins of Georgia over the weekend in representing the Republican Party and myself against the impeachment hoax. Yes, extremely well done. I think my favorite part here is there's nothing about a problematic giving aid to another country in which you're talking about corruption, which he's required to do by law. So, I mean, I guess really this entire sentence is my favorite part. Very, very odd, and no surprise, I guess, that Donald Trump absolutely loves it. Let's just take a look at what else Trump has been tweeting. Mini Mike Bloomberg has instructed... That's actually pretty funny. Mini Mike Bloomberg has instructed his third-rate news organization not to investigate him or any Democrat, but to go after President Trump only. The failing New York Times thinks that is okay because their hatred and bias is so great that they can't even see straight. Okay. Retweeting CNBC. Just landed in the United Kingdom, heading to London for NATO meetings tomorrow. Prior to landing, I read the Republicans' report on the impeachment hoax. Great job. Radical left has no case. Read the capital T transcripts. Shouldn't even be allowed. Can we go to the Supreme Court to stop? You know, unfortunately, it's his Supreme Court increasingly, and there's a chance that if given the opportunity, they would intervene. The Fed should lower rates, there is almost no inflation, and loosen, making us competitive with other nations, and manufacturing will soar. At least he didn't put SORE. Dollar is very strong relative to others. Manufacturers are being held back by the strong dollar, which is being propped up by the ridiculous policies. Okay, so yeah, when it's convenient, he praises the Federal Reserve. Otherwise, he goes against them. Just for kicks, let's watch a few minutes of Lou Dobbs, which I haven't seen in years.
Our next guest has a new book out, already higher on the Amazon bestseller list than the so-called anonymous book. Joining us tonight, a man not anonymous, Doug Wead, advisor to two presidents, presidential historian, author of the new bestseller, Inside Trump's White House. It's out today. And Doug, congratulations on the book. We want to tell you, we recommend it to you
That's
highly.
Interesting.
And how much fun was this to write?
It was so much fun. You better than anybody would know. It's fun for me to even tell you. But when they finally approved it and I walk in the Oval Office, he doesn't even say hello. He doesn't shake my hand. I walk in the Oval Office, and he's got these papers. This is my private correspondence with Kim Jong-un. They don't want you to have this. They tell me not to let you see this, but I'm going to let you have it. You can't copy it. You can't keep it. but you can read it, and that's how it started.
That's great.
Wow, just absolutely heartwarming story. Yeah, so I guess this is what's going on. I don't really watch this. Oh, and look, up next, Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Yeah, this is not a channel I watch. I don't even know if I have this channel, but apparently this is what Trump liked this, and this is what they do. All right, so there's that. Next, we got the Doug Collins thing. We got the Trump fake orgasm thing. And okay, I want to talk about this next, but let me do a few thank yous before I move on. Thanks to Val McClinchy for subscribing for 5 months in a row at Tier 1 on Twitch. I appreciate that. And thanks to Eroding, subscribed with Twitch Prime. I also want to say thanks to Luis Caballero, or as non-Argentinians would say, Caballero, who has signed up on our website. And now we have these new graphics, so now I can actually go in. And if you look right above my head, when I hit save, we get a progress bar. Boom, there we go. That progress bar moves up as people sign up, which is very, very exciting. We do have, so this is, we had a big Black Friday membership special. And as of right now, how many people used it? 212. So 212 people used that code last 2019 on Black Friday. That is a much bigger discount than we normally offer on memberships. That I guess it's like 60 something % off. It drops a $60 membership to $20.19. Get it, 2019, the last special of 2019. And it'll drop a $6 a month membership to $2.02. So take advantage of that one. I am up for opening up the phones. The target for today is 15 new members, and the phones will open. And we also have these cool graphics, which is great. We're still tweaking them a little bit, but they are a big improvement over the previous graphics. I am taking questions via super chat over on YouTube. Feel free to send them in using the $sign at the bottom of the chat window. Okay, let's talk about this tweet that we have on screen. Kellyanne Conway is an advisor to the president. George Conway is a Republican lawyer and Kellyanne's husband. Kellyanne defends Donald Trump all the time, whereas George Conway criticizes Trump all the time. But up until now, they have basically stayed out of each other's way. This is, as far as I know, the first direct Trump-related contradiction or response from George Conway to Kellyanne Conway. Kellyanne Conway tweeting, "Watch, Sleepy Joe is Creepy Joe. We need Ukraine's help to defeat this guy." And George Conway, of course, accurately pointing out, your boss apparently thought so. I don't know if this is the beginning of an upcoming divorce or what it is, but let's take a look at the video that was tweeted.
And by the way, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again.
This girl loves the story.
So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap. And I tell you what.
Yeah, this is bad. I would stop telling these stories for sure. But to Kellyanne's point, if Trump was so convinced that this guy was beatable, then I don't know why he went and did the entire Ukraine thing. That's very, very strange. I don't know what to make of that. But anyway, I guess this leads us into polling, right? Yeah. Why? How does Joe Biden end up telling these stories? That's what I don't understand. Let's look at polling, okay? Joe Biden not doing so well. Joe Biden was here on May 11th. Let's see if I can set this up better for you. Joe Biden was here on May 11th around 40%, and then a big decline, and then it's basically just been up and down, up and down, up and down. And Joe Biden now down from, I guess, this was the day of the last debate. And since that day, it's basically just been down for Joe Biden. So that's not going particularly well. Elizabeth Warren declining from a high of nearly 27%. She now is down to 14%. And Pete Buttigieg is very close. Now, Bernie has been relatively steady the last several weeks, but has also dropped down from about 20 to 16. And Pete Buttigieg continuing to climb. Are Biden supporters going to Buttigieg? Ideologically, that makes a lot more sense. It's hard for me to imagine a Bernie or a Warren supporter saying, I'm going to go to Buttigieg. But needless to say, Pete Buttigieg is mounting a campaign, which I don't like. I mean, I'm a progressive, and I want someone who is more progressive. Pete Buttigieg, I don't find to be a progressive on really almost any issue. I mean, okay, he says basically the right things on a lot of social issues, abortion and LGBT rights, etc. But on healthcare, it's not been good. On tuition-free college, it's been not good in a few different ways. So I'm not a Buttigieg guy, but Buttigieg also doing well in some early states, very white states, admittedly. Buttigieg in Iowa winning. And actually winning by quite a bit in 2 recent polls, although we don't have one from the last couple of weeks. New Hampshire, Buttigieg has been doing well, but in the latest poll, Bernie has taken the lead again. New Hampshire is early, but it's actually less important in the grand scheme of things for securing the nomination. It's very few delegates, and it can be a signal of momentum. But I tend not to put too much stock into what happens in New Hampshire, although some people put significant stock into it. In Nevada, Buttigieg not doing well. He's polling 8. He is very far behind in 4th place, behind Biden, Warren, and Sanders. And very similarly in South Carolina, Buttigieg just way behind. He has half the support of the 3rd place candidate, who's Bernie Sanders. And Bernie has, about 1/3 of the support of the 1st place candidate, who is Joe Biden. So it's still very, very early, but there is no question that nationally, Pete Buttigieg surging. And I asked on the broadcast show today, what do you think is behind this? And I'm curious to hear from folks. If people want to send super chats or highlighted messages on YouTube and Twitch, respectively, about this, I'm glad to read them and see what's on your mind. Let me say thank you. Oh, I've got a few other people to thank here. Let me say thanks to John Delahanty and also Elzbieta Marciniak for signing up on my website. That gets us to 3 of 15 new members for opening up the phone lines, and 3 of 30. There it is. We've got our new graphics, and we are seeing maybe we need a different shade of blue as the bar fills in. No, maybe it's not distinct enough. Maybe that's a change that could be made. In any case, you will see that be filled in, hopefully all the way to the top and off screen as folks continue to subscribe. Let me answer some questions, including one from a user named Name Withheld via Super Chat. How much money do you think Kelly Mellenbacher got for dissing Kamala and going to Bloomberg? I actually don't know about that story. Kelly Mellenbacher, Kamala. This is the staffer who resigned. Yeah, let's take a look at that real quick. That actually, I didn't have her name memorized, but that's an interesting story. Let's take a look at that. And I'll zoom this out for us. Kamala Harris aide says in resignation letter, I have never seen an organization treat its staff so poorly. An aide to Senator Kamala Harris blasted the treatment of staff on the California Democrats' presidential campaign in a resignation letter this month. This is my 3rd presidential campaign, and I have never seen an organization treat its staff so poorly. While I still believe that Senator Harris is the strongest candidate to win in the general election in 2020, I no longer have confidence in our campaign or its leadership. She wrote that the treatment of our staff over the last 2 weeks was the final straw in this very difficult decision. It's not acceptable to me that we encourage people to move from D.C. to Baltimore only to lay them off with no notice, with no plan for the campaign, without thoughtful consideration of the personal consequences to them or the consequences that their absence would have on the remaining staff. It is unacceptable that we would lay off anyone that we hired only weeks earlier. It is unacceptable that with less than 90 days until Iowa, we do not have a real plan to win. Listen, the unfortunate reality, let me see how I can say this in a way that is not, I don't want to target any particular candidate other than Amy Klobuchar because we know stories about her already. A lot of these politicians who we might agree with or disagree with on the issues, they're not the best people, and they don't treat their staff very well. This is really, really common. Campaign staffers and congressional staffers and Senate staffers are notoriously underpaid, overworked, and generally speaking, not treated well. Now, I don't want to say anything in particular, but because it's public, Amy Klobuchar's staff has said she does absolutely horrible things. There was that story about someone who failed to bring her a fork for her salad, and she took out a comb and started eating the salad with a comb to shame the staffer. All sorts of just horrible stuff. And unfortunately, this is why I always say, elected officials, politicians, really, we should not idolize, and we certainly shouldn't deify them the way that some people deify an elected official or a would-be elected official that they really like. These are people, often very flawed people, like everybody is. They will do some good things, hopefully, if we empower them to do that. They often, as we know, they're more likely to be psychopaths. They are people who are people who it appeals to get into positions of power, I think are more likely to exhibit some of these traits where they're not going to treat staff well. And I don't think that this is surprising. Now, the comb thing with Klobuchar and laying people off right after making the move. Obviously, laying people off after making the move, I think, is worse than shaming one person by eating a salad with a comb. So I'm not equating those things. But the point is, I know people in other campaigns, and a lot of the people that you may like on policy are not the nicest people. The other thing I will also point out, and I've said this before, is that when you are, does that matter? There are people who will say, I don't really care how individual staff members are treated or whatever the case may be. What I care about is what are you going to do for the largest number of people by being president? Treat your staff however, I don't know. It's hard for me to really get behind that in any serious way because I envision that there is probably more to the way that these individuals relate to staffs. Now, on the other hand, someone who, as far as I've read, has treated their staff very well and has low turnover is actually Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff, who is running the House Intelligence Committee and is a congressman from California, originally from here in Massachusetts. I understand that he stands out in Congress because he is known to treat particularly well, not overwork them. I don't think he can do anything about pay because it's set by guidelines. But that is what I have read, and who knows if it is true or if it is not true. Let me say thank you to Heroes Shadow for subscribing on Twitch. Let me say thanks to Suckboy for subscribing with Twitch Prime, as well as Stumble Biscuit. And I think that is everybody. That gets me caught up. Thank you very, very much. I also want to say thanks over on our website to Corey Bagley for signing up for a membership, Chris Young, Callie Karanen, and Timo Gronwald. That gets us 4 more members. Let me update our very cool graphic. I love these graphics. All right, let's see. The slider is going to pop up here. There it goes. Getting very, very close to opening the phone lines. Let me see if I missed anyone there. I don't believe I did. No, that gets me totally caught up. Okay, so we have 7 new members. If we get to 15, I'll open the phone lines. And if we get 30, I will commit to another stream this week, despite the fact, and it's going to be a long week because we are live streaming on Wednesday, the full impeachment hearings once again, and they may be they may be very, very long. Okay, I've got to ask for a little bit of leeway here to sort of explain a situation to you, and it relates to this video. And let me just quickly refresh it to see how the dislikes are going. Okay, the ratio has actually improved a little bit. So listen, I did a video today called Medicare for All Isn't Happening Soon. It's not happening anytime soon. And I want to be just sickly and obscenely honest with you. I am for Medicare for All. I believe Medicare for All is the best plan. I believe Medicare for All is the gold standard. I believe that the system that we have is terrible, given all of the options which I've researched, and I've researched many of them, and that includes what happens in Singapore, the Canadian system, the Australian system, the system in Argentina where I was born, the Scandinavian systems, the system. I've researched all of these systems. I still believe that although no program is perfect, that Medicare for All is the gold standard, and it is my goal. But I also don't just bullshit my audience. And so while I will advocate for Medicare for All, and I will advocate for candidates who say Medicare for All is the way, and all of that stuff, every once in a while I need to just be realistic. And one of those realistic things is, if you look at what we are up against, if you look at who's up for re-election in the Senate in 2020, and you look at 2022, and you consider some of the things that would need to happen for Medicare for All to actually work financially, and then you realize that some of those things would be appealed to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court, with people on it, 2 of whom were selected by Donald Trump, they are not going to go for it. So I'm not going to redo the full 10-minute video that I did. But at the very beginning of this video, listen to what I say. Start this way today after the Thanksgiving holiday, but if you're watching on YouTube at least, wait, please don't hit the dislike button just yet. Consider watching this video first before you do that. Right. So this video is 10 minutes long, and 3 minutes in, it had way more dislikes than likes. So listen, I'm concerned about the movement because people don't even seem to understand what I am saying, or they seem not to care. Now, I'm not going to scroll down through the comments here. I'm going to do it on my phone because there might actually be truly horrible, like, anti-Semitic comments and whatnot that I don't want popping up on screen. But I'm going to give you just like a few examples of the comments that people are leaving, which to me say they're either not understanding or not watching the video. And this really concerns me because I want the movement to succeed. And when I see stuff like this, it scares me. Let me take a look here. How do I even get access to this on my phone? Here it is. Okay. Here's an example. Okay, so David is basically advocating for centrist policies. No, I literally say in the video, I'm not suggesting we advocate for centrist policies. I'm not suggesting we support Joe Biden. I say in the video that I'm not doing any of those things. How is that one of the comments? Another example. This sounds like a Nancy Pelosi speech. Go back to being more progressive. I am unequivocally for Medicare for all. Okay? But I also do analysis of the way the world is, not the way I would like it to be. And just wanting it to be a certain way doesn't make it that way. That's not being defeatist. It's understanding the systems we have to work within. Another example comment here. Bernie can establish a state of emergency and simply sign Medicare for all into law. Listen, I know that people like to talk about this. People say, our system of healthcare is so bad that it is a form of an emergency. So the president could say, we now have a state of emergency, and just sign Medicare for all into law. It's not going to happen, guys. Okay? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. That's not a realistic way of getting this passed. Another user commented, I'm not surprised David is shilling against Medicare. In the video, I say, Medicare for all is the gold standard. I want Medicare for all. We should be advocating for Medicare for all. It's merely a reality check. I might have just one more for you here. Actually, some people seem to understand what's going on. I read one comment that says, these comments show people don't listen to what he's saying. Yes, correct. Another one said, the comments are depressing. Watch the whole video. He supports Medicare for all. He's talking about strategy. He's talking about reality. He's right. He's saying it because people need to know the reality. We need realistic expectations and knowledge about how the system works. So I'm going to cover this tomorrow, but it is super depressing because, you know, I said during the video, if you disagree with me about the facts that I'm laying out, then tell me which facts I'm wrong about. But simply saying I'm shilling against Medicare for all, come on, you know, and unfortunately, this would merely be a curiosity if the same people who are doing this are the people that we have to count on to be activists. It's very, very scary. And I see Val from Agawam saying, you always ask for more than you want. Of course. And I criticize Obama in the video. Obama started with, it sort of would be nice to have a public option. And we ended up with no public option. We ended up with, 20 million new customers for for-profit insurers. If Obama maybe had started with Medicare for all, maybe we would have already ended up with a public option under Obamacare. So I'm sick of it, and I will talk about it tomorrow. And it's extremely it's disheartening to see so many people that are on my side, either deliberately or maybe not deliberately, which is arguably even scarier, misunderstand even the arguments that I'm making. Name Withheld sent a super chat over on YouTube saying, what about all? How many mountains have to move for that to happen? Yeah, listen, the reason I'm not, there's obviously obstacles there as well, but I don't believe the obstacles are as big as they are for Medicare for all, because with free college for all is not any college, and it's not really a free for all. It would be making all existing public colleges and universities tuition free. And the mechanisms to do that, as difficult as it may be, are far simpler than those for Medicare for all. So I want Medicare for all. These black and white views that people seem to have, it's a problem. It's a real problem. And I'm trying to think of what, so tomorrow I want to talk about this on the show. And I was debating what I should call a video addressing the fact that I'm concerned about the reactions to this video. And I had the title, I'm extremely worried about my audience. I don't want to be clickbaity, but I want to communicate that we do have a problem, but I also don't want to be patronizing. I don't know. I'm open to hearing what people think that that video should be called, but it is really, it's just disheartening, I guess, is what I will say. I'm with you. I want Medicare for all. Okay, let me say thank you to... Oh, okay. Let me do some thanks. Super chat. Over on YouTube, Russell Jones says, when candidates promise Medicare for all and can't deliver, won't it hurt us in the midterms? I want a candidate to say, I am ultimately for Medicare for all, and here's how we get there. Yeah, there are candidates who are using that terminology, and it comes off as insincere in terms of really wanting Medicare for all. So I don't know that that's exactly the language that I want, but I do want candidates to acknowledge at least the different elements of the path. And yeah, I understand what you're saying, Russell, but I think that there's probably more to making that a reality. Okay, for people asking if I'm going to open up the phone lines, I am open to opening up the phone lines. We're only 8 new members away from opening up the phone lines. We are live on both YouTube and Twitch, and we have two different coupon codes that are available. We have one that's YouTube 50, which will save you 50%. We have one that's Twitch 50. If you're watching on YouTube, use the YouTube one. If you're watching on Twitch, use the Twitch one. Or forget about all of that crap and just use the coupon code LAST 2019, which was our Black Friday special. It's the last big membership drive of the year, and it'll save you 60%. Forget about 50%. It'll save you 60%. And if Michaela McGonigal just signed up, that gets us to 8. And let's see, I love my new thing where I can move the bar. Here it's going to pop. There it goes. We're now up to 8. So if 7 more folks sign up, I will open up the phone lines. But in the meantime, let me just play a few voicemails that have been coming in, despite the fact that we are not opening up the phone lines quite yet. People continue to call in. And I got a lot of emails last time I did this that people liked hearing some of the random voicemails. Oh, we have not heard from Jimmy from Philly, the crazy Trumpist who used to drink but now does LSD. We haven't heard from him for a while. And he left me a voicemail. So let's take a listen to that.
David, Jimmy from Philly. I just watched your Trumpist explains why Trump is perfect. What a bunch of bullshit. David, who is going to beat him out of the Democrats? If you have any sense at all, David, you know damn right well, no one in the amongst the Democratic candidates have a snowball's chance in hell of beating Trump. You know this, and yet you continue to spin your bullshit. I can't wait to the election, David. David, I am going to call you night and day around the clock. when Trump wins. You're going to be so sick of me, you're going to block me.
Okay. All right. So that's Jimmy from Philly. Listen, I don't know why Jimmy's arguing with me. I agree. I think there's a really good chance Trump wins re-election. I'm not arguing against Jimmy from Philly. This is why I'm so concerned. So no disagreement here. I think that there are candidates that can beat Trump, but it's quite plausible that Trump will be reelected. Trust me, I understand. Thank you to everybody who's been renewing their Twitch Prime subscription over on Twitch. I do appreciate it. We are now in month 5 of our Twitch experience, and a very special experience, I would call it. And so we do have folks who are now in month 5 of Twitch Prime. Val McClinchy has subscribed. I already mentioned 5 months at tier 1. Gerp Gore subscribed for 5 months with Twitch Prime. So thank you so much. If you have Amazon Prime and you are watching right now, please consider using your Amazon Prime subscription to subscribe to me with Twitch Prime for free. It doesn't cost you anything. I've got a bunch of other questions here from via Super Chat, but before I get to that, let me say thanks to Jake Robinson. Jake Robinson is new member number 9 of the evening, which gets us very, very close. There it is. Very close to opening the phone lines. Just 6 more. Let me answer questions from Super Chat. Ryan Nowicki. The decline of the Republican Party is plain to most. Given the average age, there should be a drop-off soonish. How do you think the party will fight this? Unfortunately, Ryan, they are fighting it already by really pouring money into things like Toilet Paper USA, also known as Turning Points USA, and these sending Ben Shapiro to campuses, sending Charlie Cork to campuses, sending Candace Blowens to campuses, and all of that stuff. They invest money. The left either doesn't have or opts not to invest money. And unfortunately, the problem with that is that it is going to bite us. It continues to be problematic for the left. And so I don't think that the demographics of age are actually going to cause as much of a problem for Republicans as one might imagine. But thanks for the question, Ryan, via Super Chat on YouTube. QQ-S says, $27 for Sanders, canceling a $200,000 Hillary dinner, only to have the regulatory committee accuse Sanders of cheating. Grossly unfair in spirit. $5 PSH. Psh. Right, okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. White Death 9 says, are you concerned about potential self-censorship given that TikTok is controlled by the Chinese government? Oh, yeah, so we made a TikTok account. I mean, listen, almost every platform we're on does stuff that we don't like. I don't have to name them, but that's just, whoa. Yeah, I just pulled up my TikTok page and it just went completely crazy. We just get on any platform and we'll put our content out there and try to reach as many people as possible. And if TikTok kicks us off because of what we say about Hong Kong or what we say about LGBT rights or whatever, then we'll just be off TikTok. We're going to try to just spread our message as much as we can. So I'm not concerned about self-censorship. I've directed the team to just post our stuff. That's it. Let's see here. Other super chats that are coming in. Lance Smith asks, oh wait, did I skip somebody? No, Lance Smith. Lance Smith says, what do you think about the Matt Dillahunty and Dinesh D'Souza debate coming up in March? Oh, I don't know anything about that, but Matt is a great guy. Let's see, Matt Dillahunty, Dinesh D'Souza. So it looks like there was an event that was canceled last year. I don't see anything about a rescheduled one, to be quite honest. Yeah, if people have info about that, I'm glad to look at it, but I'm not seeing anything about that right now. But I would love to see that. That would be a very, very exciting debate to see. Let me say thanks to Georgios Courtis for signing up at joinpacman.com. That is new member number 10 of the evening, and that gets us just 5 away from opening up the phone lines. We had an extraordinarily successful membership drive. We did a Black Friday membership special, and we had, let me get the exact number as of right now. Let me see the exact number of people that took advantage of that membership special. 229, our most successful membership special thus far. And you can keep building on it if you want, because that coupon code is still available. It's last 2019. So thanks to the more than 200 people that signed up. Very, very much appreciated. Okay, let's see. On March 1st, 2020, Matt Dillahunty and Dinesh D'Souza will sit down in New York City for discussion. Two people who agree on very little, locked in a battle of ideas that cuts right to the heart of who we are and who we're going to be. If someone's trolling me with that, then you've done really, really well. Oh no, let's see. I found a video about it. Let's take a look.
We have seen in recent years, not just atheism, but a kind of new atheism, more militant, more suave, more effective than the atheism of the past. They want to attack Christianity in the private sphere also. They really want to make every Christian feel like a total idiot.
Incorrect.
Can a scientist explain why there's a monkey that can sit next to you and you look a whole lot different?
Sure, because we didn't descend from monkeys. Monkeys and humans descended from a common ancestor.
I was a fundamentalist Christian for more than 25 years and thought that I was supposed to be a preacher.
Jesus gave some good advice and some crappy advice and some questionable advice, and that's not enough. And there's not a secular humanist organization or country on the planet that has ever produced as a good thing, an intentional good thing, rapists and murderers.
Donald Trump is an outlier. He is unusually flamboyant. He's brash.
Well, I'm super interested in this. It looks like, yes, March 1st, 2020, our friend Matt Dillahunty will be debating Dinesh D'Souza, and that actually seems really great. I look forward to that, and it looks like it's going to be a great conversation. Let me see here. Let me see what, I think I might have missed a super chat. No, I didn't. Okay, very good. So we're caught up. I appreciate that. Let me also say thank you to Jose Garcia. Thank you so much for signing up on our website. That is new member number 11 of the evening, and that gets us to within 4 of opening up the phone lines. Highlighted message over on Twitch. David, did you see that Rania Kalik of Russia-funded In the Now called you out in a video about Bolivia, posted 11:30. Your clip appears at 128 onward. No, I don't. I don't care. I haven't seen it, and we're sort of well beyond that story at this point, and I'm just too busy to be doing responses to stuff like that. But I did not see it. Sounds compelling though, very, very compelling. Let's see, other questions that came in. Oh, thanks to Jimmy 10 Pins for subscribing for the 2nd month in a row with Twitch Prime. Jimmy says, Trump is not well. Thanks for a great show, David. Appreciate that. Peyton Pelland says, I am a chef knife maker and I rely heavily on social media for my business. What are your thoughts on discussing politics publicly as a small business? Listen, Peyton, so here's the thing. That's going to be your call, right? If you believe that discussing politics is so important that you don't care if discussing politics hurts your knife business, then go ahead and do it. If you make the decision, you're working in knives, not in politics. So I don't think there's anything wrong with you saying, I have my politics, but I just do knife sales and I'm not going to bring politics in. I think that that's totally reasonable. My thoughts are that I have no problem with small businesses telling me what their politics are, as long as they are prepared, they are prepared for the reality that they may lose customers as a result of that. They may also gain them, right? There's no question, but that's a call. Once you cross that, once you ring that bell, there's no unringing that bell, so to speak, particularly because the internet remembers. Dave Rest asks via Super Chat, what would you say to someone who's apprehensive or skeptical about Medicare for All for fear it will be horribly managed? For example, like the VA. Well, what we find out is that when you kneecap programs, they often don't work well. And so what we need to do is ensure that it is actually properly funded. That I have no concerns about it being properly run as long as it is properly funded. Matthew Dominguez says, where do you think Mookie Betts will be traded to? I really couldn't say. I really couldn't tell you. Unfortunately, I'm unable to say. All right, let's listen to a couple of other voicemails here. Oh, this is a weird thing to be stuck on. Let me go back somewhere else. Yeah, there we go. Maybe to this. We're listening to just a few voicemails that have been coming in. We are standing by. We may open the phone lines. We're only 4 members away from opening up the phone lines. We are live on YouTube and Twitch. We have a code YouTube50, which you can use for 50% off if you're watching on YouTube. We have a code Twitch50, which you can use for 50% off if you're watching on Twitch. And then if you just want the biggest discount and you don't care about this Twitch versus YouTube thing, then use that code right there, last 2019. That'll save you 60%. Forget about 50%. It'll save you 60%. Let's see who else has been leaving voicemails, and then hopefully I'll get to talk to some people live momentarily here. We heard from Jimmy from Philly already. Let's listen to another one.
Longtime fan. Calling from actually Wellesley, Massachusetts. I'm local. Just wondering, I just don't understand why you dislike Ben Shapiro so much.
I don't dislike him. I think that he's spreading disinformation, but I don't. These things aren't personal.
Very militant towards the trans community and things of that nature, but he just seems to be a guy who understands, logic and facts and the reasonable understanding of arguments. And you seem the exact same breed. Well, I don't mean to say breed, but you understand what I mean.
Oof.
But
getting very eugenicist.
I just don't understand why you sort of have this beef with Ben Shapiro. I don't think.
Okay, that's enough. I don't have any beef with Ben Shapiro. Sometimes he says things that don't make sense, and I talk about them and I criticize them, and that's it. Okay, let's take a listen to. Ooh, I see a 4.5-minute voicemail. Anytime I see a 4.5-minute voicemail, I get scared. Let's take a listen.
Hi, good evening. This is Louis again, calling from Cortland, New York, originally from Puerto Rico. I forgot to tell you this on my last message. I was very insulted. All my family's in Puerto Rico. The only reason I live in New York is because I have 2 daughters here, and I will not leave my daughters.
Man, this is barely audible, and now there's a whooshing sound, and it's 5 minutes long, so we're going to skip that one. Let's listen to another voicemail.
Hi, this is Angie. I had a question. Would you consider possibly debating Hunter Avalone? This has been something that I've been curious about for some time. There was a video that I just saw, and it was asking about the same question, so I wanted to pique my interest and ask you, would you debate Hunter Avalone? Give your reasons
That's
why.
the question from the video the other day. I said, I don't know who he is. My team has advised me that he is a prominent YouTuber, and I would consider debating him if the topic made sense or something like that. Let me say thank you to Blake Daniel. Blake Daniel is new member number 12 of the evening. Thanks very much, Blake. We are now just 3 members away. Look at how close the lighter blue bar is to filling the darker blue bar. I do think we need a little more contrast there, so I'm going to suggest that before the next stream. But we're only 3 members away from opening up the phone lines. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Hunter Avalone, maybe. I don't know. J Money J sent me a super chat saying, hey, David, looking at the Democratic presidential candidates, in your opinions, who would you say is most likely to win and potentially go against Trump, judging on their debates so far? Well, I don't have any special insight into that. I mean, we have the polling, and Biden, Bernie, and Warren are the 3 that are leading. And, Pete Buttigieg has been surging from behind, and it's possible that he will continue to make headway, but it seems like other than the 4 of them, I don't really see a path for anybody else right now. Alex sent a $20 super chat. Alex says, AR-15 is the Rife. It fires 5.56 by 45 millimeter NATO. A Ruger Mini 14 can also fire the same ammo. That would do the same amount of damage, same rate of fire. It's not the gun, it's the round. Stop with the ban of AR-15s. People are so uninformed. Oh, geez. That's. I hope that was worth $20 for you. Geez, that was crazy. But all right. I mean, listen, I agree, Alex. So listen, I'm just kind of joking. You are right, Alex, that things are more complicated than just banning a gun. But your argument is almost about, it looks like we need to expand that idea rather than retract it. But I don't want to turn this all into a gun stream, but this is certainly not a gun stream. People asking what is, I should address that. People are asking what is where did that video go? Where's the orgasm video? Was it back here? No, it wasn't. Okay, well, there's a video of, I think Aaron posted it. Yeah, Trump pretends to have an orgasm during a speech. Let's just listen to it for people joining late. Here it is.
19 minutes after the oath of office, months earlier, Peter struck. Remember, he and his lover, Lisa Page, what a group. She's going to win 10 million to 1. She's going to win. I'm telling you, Peter.
Here he goes.
I'm telling you, Peter, she's going to win. Peter, oh, I love you so much.
And then after the crowd claps, he's encouraged, and he does more of it. This is the sick part.
I love you, Peter. I love you too, Lisa. Lisa, I love you. Lisa. Lisa. Oh, God, I love you, Lisa.
Yeah, there it is. If anyone's going to be familiar with what it's like to be in a room when there's a fake orgasm, I think definitely it would be Donald Trump. So in that sense, it's not surprising. Let me say thank you to... Oh, man. John Smith sent me the super chat. Have you read the book Democracy for Realists? It's a recent book by two political scientists who suggest that most voters are not informed or rational. I have not read it yet, but it is on a list of possible future interviews. So it is a book I may soon read. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to make of the orgasm video. It's a very strange video for sure. Thanks to Flat Broke for subscribing with Twitch Prime. I appreciate that very, very much, Flat Broke. Thank you so much. Let's listen to a couple of other voicemails here. We are just 3 new members away from opening up the phone lines. We can do it. We could have the phone lines open in a minute, folks. Believe you me, we're looking at it very, very strongly. Let's take a look at this one.
Hello, David Packman. I was a caller from the 530 area code a couple days ago. I kind of stumbled a bit when I called because I'm mildly autistic, so I was a little...
All right, we're going to move on. I don't want things to get a little bit strange here. So let's try a different caller. Here's someone called me 40 times in a row and left 40 voicemails. Do I even dare? Actually, I'm not going to mess with that either because this is all live and I have no idea. That just, it seems problematic. So let's skip that as well. Let's try a different voicemail like this one.
I don't think I have the same urgency that I do when it...
Hello. I'm calling from California. My name is, Shar. I'm calling because I had a discussion with a woman.
Okay. I don't know what that was. I may have missed 1 or 2 words, but it also seems like it would be better not to, let's not do that. Okay. Let me see if I have anything else. It is a weird batch here.
Hello, David. My name's Dan. Started watching your show earlier this year. I've followed Young Turks and just found your show very interesting. My question for you is, with all this talk of civil war under the Trump administration, where do you think it will lead? Do you think it's just more talk from conspiracy theorists that we've heard from the past, or do you think that they might actually attempt something? I mean, if you think about the MAGA bomber and people who do atrocities in Trump's name, do you think that this could progress into something worse? Thank you.
Yeah, I actually fear that it could, and I've been talking about this more and more lately. I actually do. People, if you haven't heard that there's talk of civil war, then that's good. You're probably staying away from some pretty toxic media. But yeah, look up this guy Wiles, who was talking on today's broadcast show, and it's really, really crazy. It's scary, and what's also scary is that so many people are even while being outraged about it, they are still sort of pushing it, and it's very concerning. It's very, very concerning, and I am scared. I'm scared whether Trump wins or loses, but particularly if he loses in 2020, I'm scared that there is going to be significant real world violence. The Ben Shapiro thing. So I got another super chat about Ben Shapiro. Where Kelly D says, Ben Shapiro only cares about winning a damn debate with his technique. I wonder if he believes his own words, waste of time to my ears. So this is actually something funny someone sent me, and there wasn't really a place for it on my broadcast show. But I've talked before about how a lot of what Ben Shapiro does is that he talks fast.
Colin Kaepernick.
What someone told me was if you slow it down by putting it at 0.75 playback speed, you very quickly realize that he's not actually saying things that are that interesting nor even that insightful. Let's just test it. Let's just go right into the middle of his show today and see what it sounds like at 0.75. 0.75, yeah.
American population, not broken down by race, but broken down by politics. And that is deeply negative. It's why you see people like Colin Kaepernick being granted all sorts of endless media time for his virtue signaling stupidity on a wide variety of topics. So, for example, Colin Kaepernick over the weekend, who again...
So what's funny is this is actually the normal talking speed for more people. Like Ben Shapiro's normal talking speed is really fast, and a lot of people are influenced by that. This is Ben Shapiro at what we might consider more of a normal talking speed, and it's less compelling, isn't it?
Retains his fame only because the media keep covering his various anti-American protests, whether he's putting pigs on his socks or whether he's saying that the Betsy Ross flag is racist. Well, his latest bid for attention, since he obviously doesn't want to play quarterback in the NFL.
All right, so I think people get it. It's, if you slow it down a little bit and you can actually think through each thing that he says, it's much less compelling for sure. Thanks to Daniel Krieger for sending a $2 super chat with the message, love you, BB. Thank you so much. Also want to say thanks to Hugh J. Nis for subscribing for 2 months with Twitch Prime. You can see the real difference between the usernames over on YouTube versus on Twitch. Subscribing for 2 months with Twitch Prime. I appreciate that. And somebody tricked me saying my sound was on mute. And Kin3Tick for subscribing with Twitch Prime as well. I very, very much appreciate that. A lot of people asking, are the phone lines open? And I see that people are calling in like crazy. The phone lines are not open. We are very close to opening them. We have 12 of 15 new website members at joinpacman.com. All the information is there. And if we get 3 more, we will indeed open up the phone lines. If not, don't worry. We will be live streaming the impeachment hearings later this week, which will be an opportunity for phones. We will be taking phone calls on Wednesday and Friday. It sort of seems like it'll be. So there's going to be plenty of opportunities to call in. But I gladly would open up the phone lines this evening if things happened. David, can you speak as quickly as possible for 30 seconds? I just don't. I don't even know how we talk that quickly. That's basically as fast as I can go. It's just not natural to me. Just put me at 2x. Actually, maybe I should even try that. Let's see what I sound like at 2x. I don't think I've ever listened to that. Well, this is like recursive. We're streaming the fact that this stream is happening. Let's take a listen. What do I sound like at 2x? Here we go.
Contender for the most delusional Trump voter in the United States. Last week, during a live stream that I did on YouTube and Twitch, we happened to overlap with some of Donald Trump's MAGA rally in Florida, and Fox News sent a reporter, actually, let's call him a guy with a microphone, I think better said. They sent a guy with a microphone to a restaurant in Boca Raton, Florida, the day after the rally. And they happened to come across a business owner of a security company. This is all self-professed. I don't know if any of this stuff is true. A guy who says he owns a security company, who hires lots of veterans, who says he used to be a Democrat but is now fully backing Trump. This guy says he is all...
That's actually not, it's not unintelligible. Let's now try me at 0.75.
All in with Trump. because he's patriotic and he supports family values and he's honest. This is Trump, and has integrity of character and has delivered on his promises.
Let's
I
try
present
0.5.
to you today the man that might be the most delusional Trump voter in the country, at least a top contender
Right.
for that position.
Okay. I think that 1.25 might be making me sort of like Ben Shapiro, right?
And notice as you watch this video how sure of himself this man seems.
Sir, what's your name and
what do you do? Trump, who has had not only endless affairs and seems to barely even know some of his children, but has paid off some of his mistresses, was involved with people whose names I can't even say because as soon as you say certain names, you get demonetized on YouTube. But I think you all know who I'm talking about. Those family values, Trump's family values, have this voter gushing over Donald Trump. He's with Trump over.
All right, so there it is. I think that, okay, now let's go back to the normal.
Trump's honesty. Trump is the most dishonest president.
It sounds slowed down weirdly right now. Yeah, I think 1.25 doesn't make me sound normal. That's weird. Maybe I need to be talking more quickly. That's pretty scary stuff. Okay, let me say thank you to Lance Smith. Says Ben Shapiro says John Lennon's song Imagine is the worst song in human history and calls it a very immoral song. I'm actually learning Imagine on the piano right now. Alex with a $300 super chat, blowing everybody else out of the water. Sorry, not aware guns were too off topic. I'm a big fan of your show and love to support. I don't disagree with expanding our idea of gun control. All I'm saying is when Democrats talk about guns, they are so clearly uninformed that gun owners don't take them seriously and end up voting for Republicans. I'm from Texas, trust me. I actually agree with this. I've said before, listen, this is why I did the story about do you understand the obstacles to Medicare for all? Because if you don't, then you are not going to convince people that you actually know how to implement it. And I think that the same thing applies to a lot of people when it comes to when it comes to guns as well. Totally agree there. Appreciate the super chat, Alex. Thanks very, very much. Let me say thank you to Damon Wells, who has subscribed via Twitch Prime over on Twitch. We are live streaming on both Twitch and YouTube, and we are considering opening up the phone lines, but we still are just a few members short. Let's see, what else did I want to go over? Oh, okay, yeah, I had a couple of other things. Let me pull them up here, actually. Oh, and there's also another voicemail that came in. Let's take a listen to that.
Hi, David. I have a question. So the Bernie bros are unwilling to vote for Biden and possibly even Warren if either of them is the nominee and Buttigieg. But in 1989, the Democrats were willing to vote for Michael Dukakis, even though some of them were diehard Jesse Jackson supporters. Granted, if I were alive, I would have been a diehard Jackson supporter. But I'm
not a big Jesse Jackson fan because he has a disgustingly anti-Semitic past.
He would have voted for Michael Dukakis because at least he's for, 75 or 80% of what the primary candidate was for. Also, in this case, we have a president who's an imminent danger to the world, and we need to do something. Thanks, David.
All right, very good. Quite comprehensive and actually making a lot of good points. Yeah. Okay. People asking about the title, which is about Trump faking an orgasm. Yes, we've already played it twice, so I'm not going to play it again. But it was pretty disturbing. I'm not going to lie. Cliff Elor says, just want to say love your work and respect your knowledge. Was just curious about you joining that Jordan Peterson app or whatever. Keep up the great work. Much respect. Oh yeah, I'm going to have a video about that soon. So let me, and in fact, maybe by the end of the week. So let me table that. But there will be a video from me about that before you know it. And it'll be a very, very strong video. That's for sure. It's going to be an extraordinary video, I predict. Okay. All right. There's folks saying, hey, David, you should just open up the phone lines because a $300 super chat came in. Forget about 3 more members. That's fine. All right. You've convinced me. Let's do it. Let's open up I'll take a few calls. I don't have a lot of time today, but we will take a few calls. 617-830-4750. I am opening up the voicemail right now. I'm going to get myself connected to it, and then I'll be able to take a few calls.
Thank you for calling into the David Pakman Show. Please do not use speakerphone. Have your question ready and listen for David to call out your area code.
Very good. 617-830-4750 is the number. You can call in and talk to me right now if you want. Let's go first to Sebastian from Texas. Sebastian from Texas, what's on your mind?
Hey there, David. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right. I just want to ask you a couple questions since you're in on the YouTubes and whatnot.
Sure.
I've heard from a couple people recently that that the impeachment is really not as important, at least to the public, as something like the current Democratic election that's primary election that's happening right now. And I was wondering, from your perspective, do you think that it's true? Do you think that people are not as interested in impeachment as they are about the Democratic elections? Should people be more interested in the impeachment process, especially since we know it's never going to go through the Senate?
These are two different things. So here's the reality. Donald Trump's actions warrant an impeachment inquiry, so we should have one. It shouldn't be, Devin Nunes kept saying during the hearings last week or the week before, oh, ratings are down for the hearings. It doesn't matter. The facts warrant an impeachment inquiry, so we're having one, and then we'll figure out what the next step is. Totally separate from that, if you don't think Trump's doing a good job, then you should be aggressively involved in the Democratic primary and getting ready to work on that. It's like a walk and chew gum at the same time thing. These are two different things. And I just disagree with saying one is more important than the other. One is an election that gets scheduled. Every 4 years, these elections are scheduled, and that's really important. In addition, we have a president whose actions warrant an impeachment inquiry, and we have that, and both are fine.
Okay, cool. Do you see how is Bernie and Warren going to do if they get called back to the Senate and not having to be out there, campaigning while they're sitting there through impeachment meetings, which is what, like 6 weeks or something? They were saying.
I think that they would be fine. I think they'll figure it out, and I think they'll do just fine.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Oh, and for your video thing, I would definitely call it. Bolivia is definitely not a coup. You guys, just because the last video got so many views. I don't know what was up with that, David. It was weird. Everyone's talking about it, and they were all up in there, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you're the best, David." I don't know what they were talking about. I'm sure it was all positive. Good guy.
Sorry, Sebastian. What are you talking about?
I don't know. Wow, that was your last video. Well, your video thing where you were like, "No one's paying attention to what I'm saying," or something, or whatever.
Oh, okay. All right, Sebastian. Thank you. I don't know what Sebastian is talking about, but was it just me or did something just go totally off the rails there? Let's go next to our caller from the 516 area. I'm a little rattled by that last call. 516. I apologize. I'm going to regain my composure for you.
No, you're good. This is Dan from New York. I'm laughing myself. Hope you had a nice Thanksgiving, David.
I did. Thank you.
You're welcome. I was just wondering. I'm not super familiar with Tulsi Gabbard or her entire record, I guess, in the public eye. I know she was pretty outspoken in 2016 about the DNC and what they did with Bernie and whatnot.
Sure.
But listening to a lot of your videos, I kind of get the impression that you're not a huge fan of her. Maybe I'm mistaken, but it seems like sometimes you kind of flippantly mispronounce her name. I could be wrong, but I was just wondering if you could maybe tell me a little bit about her from your perspective and why she might. I mean, I know why she's not popular to some people in the establishment, but I was wondering what your personal opinions are.
I've got so many clips on this that I don't really want to do another clip about why am I not supporting Tulsi. So let me approach it a different way. There's lots of candidates I'm not supporting. I did a clip today about why I'm not supporting Pete Buttigieg. I've talked before about why I'm not supporting Tulsi Gabbard. So I'm like a Warren Bernie guy. That's who most aligns with my politics, and those are the people that I would like to see be the nominee.
To be clear, I don't mean supporting her specifically, because I don't support her either. I support Bernie. I was just wondering what about her that people might not like on the left, because she seems like I guess from my perspective, she aligns more with somebody like Bernie than others, but I could be wrong. So I was just curious, like genuinely curious about her past that might cause that. But is there any particular video that you could recommend that I could look at for a more clear information on that?
I don't have the links in front of me, but if you just go to my channel and then you just search my channel for Tulsi Gabbard, you'll find a wealth of videos.
All right, great. Thanks a lot, David.
All right, thank you very much. Let's go next to the caller from the 814 area code. Who's calling today from 814? Are you there? We can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you too. I'm sorry.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Good.
I had a question. I know that you did a clip on it a while back ago. So I was looking at getting into the insurance market.
Okay.
And when I went to an interview for one of them, the office had about 100 people, and it's not a really big town. And with Medicare for All, which is something that I obviously support, so I didn't take the job, with automation and healthcare, I feel like we seriously need to consider what's going to happen when those jobs go away.
Right. Okay, go on.
So, obviously, I feel Yang's a little bit politically crazy at the time with his UBI type of ideas. I'm just wondering, I mean, you already said it's not very politically feasible for Medicare for All, but as a future step, what would you think might be something if we succeeded in that policy proposal?
What would be a step for what?
The employment of the individuals who would lose their jobs. Because it's
yeah. Listen, I mean, any policy, any government policy has an effect on employment, and so it's very popular for people who are against Medicare for All to say, but what about all of those medical billers and insurance fraud investigators and insurance salespeople or whatever? Okay, I mean, every policy has some pros and some costs. Everything is weighing what we get and what we lose. And in this particular case, they're going to have to find new jobs. And I can't tell you right now what those jobs are going to be. But this, were we going to hold back the development of the automobile because the horse buggy drivers were going to be out of a job? It seems crazy now to think that that's something we would have been able to do. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely not convinced by the fact that those jobs are worth more than the collective, but it's just between truck drivers and a bunch of other people who may soon lose their jobs. It's kind of a societal question I was thinking about.
Yep. Well, it is a good one. It is a good one. And I don't have the exact answer you may be looking for today, but I appreciate the phone call very, very much. Let me say thank you to Raf Times, who has subscribed with Twitch Prime over on Twitch. No more super chats over on YouTube. That's sad. Let's pick up next on, let's see. Oh, Val from Agawam is on. We haven't heard from her for a while. Hey, Val, what's going on?
Hey, David. How are you doing?
Good, good. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving.
I did. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. The turkey always, there's questions like, is it cooked? Is it not cooked? That game everybody does.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And who's cooking and who's cleaning up?
Sure. The time old question.
Are you more into the cooking or the cleaning up or neither?
Exclusively the cooking, yeah.
Okay, good. I was wondering what you thought about, since you are a Bernie / Warren person, like you were just saying, what your thoughts were concerning his rallying in Massachusetts. Do you think it's really important for him to come and have a physical presence here, since it is such a pro-Warren area to some degree?
You know, I have to tell you, I really don't think it's important. And I know that there's a lot of discussion about Hillary ignored Wisconsin and she should have gone and this and that. And okay, I mean, I maybe for people who are more casually following what's going on, that does matter. But honestly, for me, I don't care. I don't really care where they go, because I'm not going to any of the rallies. I'm not interested. I'm going to be making decisions based on policy positions and what they publish and what they say in debates. So I actually don't care. But in the sense that it matters in politics, then yeah, I mean, he probably should. He can go anywhere that he thinks will make a difference for the primary results. Sure.
Right. No, I was just curious. I guess I kind of agree with you that I think most people will not be going to the physical rally. And I know, unfortunately, there are a lot of Donnie supporters here around Agawam, Feeding Hills area.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm kind of in the minority, but I'm trying to spread the progressive word.
Yeah, it's weird because Massachusetts in general is pretty left, and the Pioneer Valley in Western Massachusetts is very left. But there are these enclaves once you get closer to the Connecticut line and then also into some of the hill towns, which are surprisingly conservative. And it's always, every time I'm reminded of it, it's a little bit disturbing.
Yes, it is. Hopefully it's going to be changing.
Right. Let's hope so.
All right. Well, thanks for taking my call.
All right. Thanks, Val. We'll talk to you soon. Val from Agawam. Shot out of a cannon today, for sure. Back from the holiday. Let's see. Let's go to... so Tim's asking to get on. Tim was on speakerphone last time he called. But all right, Tim from 407. I'm putting you on.
Hey, David. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I learned my lesson. No speaker.
Good.
So thank you. I'm a big fan. And like you, I am very concerned about the general election. And the way I kind of see it is like the current 4 front runners, which would be Biden, Buttigieg, Bernie, and Warren. The way I see it is we're kind of flipping a coin. You know, it's in terms of can they beat Trump in the Electoral College. And I don't really need to go down the reasons. They all have their flaws, so to speak, for why that is. But I was curious as to what you thought about Yang if he was the hypothetical nominee, how he could potentially fare against Trump.
I don't pretend to have any special insight into that. I would just look at what the polling says, and I don't have recent polling in front of me of hypothetical matchups. I know that there are Yang supporters who very strongly say he is the only person who could actually beat Trump. I don't think that's the case. I don't think there's any scenario in which Yang is the only person who could beat Trump. I think generally speaking, if the 2020 presidential election swings against Trump, there are lots of people who could beat him as long as they run reasonably good campaigns. And I think that if we don't get the vote out, then I think Trump's going to get reelected, and it's not going to matter who the nominee is. So I don't have any particular sense of Andrew Yang as a guy who would be specially positioned to defeat Donald Trump.
I certainly agree. That's why I say, like, it's kind of like flip a coin. I definitely don't think he's the only person that could beat Trump. I think they all could, you know, depends on kind of how things unfold. But I kind of see Yang as, like, A, he would energize young voters for a large turnout. Like, B, he would take a decent chunk away of Trump supporters and have a pretty good appeal to independents. And then C, which is actually a wild card that might sound cheesy, but I think at the end of the day, I find it very difficult for him to lose the Electoral College to the point where people are going to say, no, I am not going to want $1,000 a month. I just don't see that happening, because it's not like the way perception is with like Medicare for all and canceling student debt. Like, it's easy to kind of propagandize those positions, if you will, and label them socialistic, but people know what cash is. It's a lot harder, I think, to say, no, I'm not interested in $1,000 a month. I mean, what are your thoughts on those couple points I just laid out?
Listen, if the $1,000 a month thing was so overwhelmingly compelling, he'd be polling more than 3%. So I think you're maybe overestimating that.
Well, that's a fair point, but I just think when you actually have to pull the lever,
Yeah.
it's kind of like how many people are, let's say we're in, minor thought experiment. Social Security has not been implemented. How many people are in favor of implementing Social Security? Probably not too many, but now everyone loves it. When they're like an inch away, not just getting pulled, but an inch away from actually pulling that lever to receive the cash, this is a hypothetical. This is my...
We'll see. We'll see if people, when it gets time to pull the levers as the primaries start, if they go and pull the lever for Yang, right? I mean, we'll be able to turn it from a thought experiment into a real thing.
That's very true. I got another quick question. So I know you call yourself a Bernie Warren guy. If Yang was polling at similar levels, would you consider yourself a Yang Bernie Warren guy? Or
listen, I would vote for Andrew Yang if he were the nominee, but I've talked about I've talked about Yang a lot. I've interviewed him 3 times, and there are some policies of his that strike me as sort of lacking nuance or maybe naive to some degree, but let's not turn this all into all about Yang. So Tim, I appreciate the call. I'm going to let you go. And on that note, I'm actually going to cut the stream. We're going to cut the stream right now because I do have to run. We will be back with a full day